we definitely have it good, and to call it persecution, by comparison to the Roman Colosseum, or Al-Shabaab butchering Christian villages or something like that, is a little laughable. But in perspective of what we've had in the United States up until now, to call it persecution is not unreasonable. Like in that frame, it is persecution. Like, yeah, it could be way, way worse, but it's probably not going to get that bad, at least for a while. But it wasn't that long ago that you had, people, if you happen to state a Christian view on Twitter, and you were the CEO of a company, you might have your workforce ready to revolt against you, and that we're going to quit working, and the shareholders have to remove you as CEO because we're throwing a tantrum, or if you were an employee and you said something like that, you'd just be quietly fired because, IBM doesn't have any sort of a policy about a gay marriage, and you shouldn't either. And that was persecution. And that was I'm happy that's gone. I hope it doesn't come back. If it does come back, I'm not sure it is gone entirely, but it's not happening as much anyway. When it does happen, the Christian church is supposed to, like the Christian martyr suffers. He suffers faithfully, right? But if he has legal recourse, he also does take it. So we have an example actually in the Bible, in the book of Acts, St. Paul, when he's been held in custody for a couple of years by a succession of Roman governors, and they're not getting to his case because the Jews who are trying to condemn him, like they don't want to condemn Paul. They think the Jews are overreacting, but they also don't want to free Paul because that'll be bad politics, bad political relations with the Jews. And so Paul's just cooling his heels for a couple of years instead of preaching the gospel. He appeals to Caesar. He says, I have Roman citizenship, therefore I am going to invoke this little used thing that I want my case to be heard by Caesar directly. And by that means, he gets out and he goes to Rome. And it's a hazardous journey to get there. And when he does get to Rome, he's cooling his heels for a few more years because Caesar's just one guy and he doesn't see people every day, right? So we do have recourse, we do have courts, and the courts have largely been good about religious liberty. Like churches who have sued or been sued over COVID worship and all that kind of thing. I think they've won every case I've heard about, and so we should use those recourses because it is a matter of justice, and we want our nation to act justly. And we also, want to be able to support our families, so we don't want to lose our job. But it's not a reason for, revolution. If there was a reason for revolution, the Christians had it in the first couple centuries. But if they had done it that way, it would have gone completely contrary to the Christian faith. And they would have been killing people instead of bringing people the message of the gospel. And so it's like if we can, by peaceful constitutional methods, get Christians elected so that they do the right thing with regard to natural law, and if we can at the same time be salt and light to our culture so that our nation stops de-Christianizing, that will accomplish what we want. And I think it's just a council of madness, and people who need to read more history, the idea that anything revolutionary could bring about a better result.